it.
Good morning. Breaking news overnight. Shots ringing out at a FedEx facility in Indianapolis. 8 people now dead, others injured after the gunman opens fire. The investigation now underway. We've got the latest for you this morning.
From Ball State Unified Media, you're waking up with Cardinal weather, live from the Ball State Weather Center.
A very busy morning as we come on the air. Thank you so much for being here with us. Anna Chalker alongside me, Tyler Brummett here with you as well. Anna, a difficult morning. Obviously, we say good morning, but a good morning it is not.
No, not at all. It's been a lot of news coming from last night to this morning. I remember all morning we were just talking about it, trying to figure out what to talk about, what to bring. We were looking at the other stations. It's just crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know typically this is a weather show, but we are going to focus on this throughout the morning here. We are both kind of keeping tuned to see what other developments are coming. Of course, we know that there's a lot of questions that you might have this morning. We want to go through now what we know. As I just mentioned moments ago, 8 people are dead after that shooting at a FedEx facility in Indianapolis. The shooter later turning the gun on himself, Anna.
Several others were injured, and the scene is on the city's southwest side, not too far away from the Indianapolis International Airport.
And we want to take a look at the scene from last night, courtesy of Wish TV and Indianapolis. Investigators with the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department say 5 people were taken to the hospital for treatment. 2 others were treated at the scene and later released. IMPD says the call came in just after 11 last night. Investigators say the gunman opened fire, and as I mentioned, he later turned the gun on himself. It is unknown if there were other shooters.
The shooting causing the temporary closure of I-70, it was later reopened. It is open right now. Officials say it's too early to know if the suspect was an employee at the facility.
Yeah, of course, that's one thing that they're going to try to figure out. And while IMPD is leading this investigation, other departments are also helping out, including Indiana State Police and the airport's police department. We're also learning that the FBI also assisting with this investigation. Anna, we're also hearing reaction. I know Mike Braun just reacted moments ago, as well as a couple other politicians, Andre Carson, who we'll hear from in just a second, Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogshead. So again, reaction pouring in this morning.
Yeah, well, let's start with FedEx, the major reaction from all of this. The company releasing a statement on its Twitter page. We are deeply shocked and saddened by the loss of our team members following the tragic shooting at our FedEx ground facility in Indianapolis. Our most heartfelt sympathies are with those affected by this senseless act of violence. The company's Indy facility is the second largest in the country.
Also this morning, Congressman Andre Carson reacting to the mass shooting. He is a Democrat. His district includes much of the state. You see that tweet right there saying, "I am heartbroken by the mass shooting at the FedEx facility here in Indianapolis and praying for all affected by this tragedy." Again, Andre Carson reacting this morning.
Yes, and IMPD is directing family members of employees to not go directly to the facility and instead go to the nearby Holiday Inn Hotel.
Yeah, we've got information on where that is online at ballstatedaily.com. I know a lot of people are trying to figure out if their family members are okay. We do want to let you know also, obviously this story involves another aspect of it, mental health potentially with the suspect, and we do want to let you know if you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, there are resources including a crisis hotline. 1-800-273-8255 is the number there. We can't keep reiterating this enough. Obviously it's a sad situation.
Yeah.
It hits differently when it happens in the city that you grew up in, the state you grew up in. I know both of us are from the state. We've been reacting. Personally, my father is a FedEx employee, and I was confused early this morning and late last night when I found out about this. I was like, wait, was he at work? It was not his facility that was impacted, but this is a hard situation. Obviously, we were talking earlier, we've covered numerous mass shootings, but this one, it hits differently.
Yeah, and it hits different because I know last night we were leaving from the show and it was just a cool night from last night, and then we get home to our dorms and our rooms, and it's just a whole different setting and a whole different mood change.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will continue to stay on top of this. We're kind of keeping tuned to what's happening, of course, throughout the morning here, but we are also going to navigate throughout our other headlines. We do want to get a first check of that local weather. Ryan Crum, good morning to you.
Good morning, Tyler. Yes, we're waking up to a pretty chilly morning out there. As you see, some areas are pretty fall below freezing this morning. We will be surprised if some areas see some frost. But right now it's warmed up a little bit. As you see, it's 39 degrees in Muncie, Marion's at 36 degrees, and Kokomo at this hour sitting at 37 degrees. Now you take a look at that radar. Again, nothing's going on. I mean, it's pretty much clear. Everything's running perfectly, so everything is pretty much going. We're waking up to mostly sunny skies this morning, and it should be able to continue throughout the day. Now coming up, we're going to be tracking some seasonal temperatures. We're also going to be tracking those the sun being mixed with clouds. And are we going to get any rain coming up this weekend? We do have some rain chances this weekend, even early next week. I have all those details coming up.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much. Let's get to some of your other headlines here on this Friday morning. This week, obviously, serving as a reminder that National Weather Service warnings, they really need to be taken very seriously.
Yeah, they do. Like, one boat was capsized off the coast of Louisiana Tuesday, leaving one dead after the NWS issued a special marine warning. A search continues for 12 others who are missing. The commercial vessel had 19 people on board when it departed its port. Distress signals were sent 3 hours later. Waves were almost 9 feet high and winds were up to 90 miles per hour when it capsized. Good Samaritan boat crews and the U.S. Coast Guard rescued 6 people. The Coast Guard believes the others missing could still be on board, but conditions made the rescue dangerous.
We had 80 to 90 mile per hour winds. Now, consider that. Challenging, 80 to 90 mile per hour winds and 7 to 9 foot seas. That's challenging under any circumstances.
The special marine warning issued by the NWS warned of steep waves in the region. It said to seek safe harbor and take protective actions.
Cleanup is underway this morning in New Orleans after part of a building collapsed during a storm. Take a look at this video right here. Look at that car. That car was damaged after it was covered with bricks after they fell off the side of the building. The building that you see houses 2 law firms and a boutique. Workers inside say that they were shocked when they saw this happen. The good news, no injuries were reported. Contractors there looking at damage this morning, as well as sealing windows to keep water from coming in and causing more damage. Take a listen.
We're in the office working, and I could hear water dripping, and there's 4 of us in my office, and we're all kind of running around trying to find the water. We find it coming through the doors and the windows, and we put, buckets and stuff around to collect the water. But in the meantime, the wind grew so strong that we're physically holding, the 4 of us, the doors closed to the building. And it was very scary.
A rare event devastated Southwest Australia last weekend. Cyclone Seroja made landfall Sunday near the town of Kalbarri, damaging 70% of its town's buildings. It was a Category 3 storm with winds of 105 miles per hour, the highest in the area in 50 years. This drone footage here shows the debris in the destroyed homes. At least 15,000 homes lost power. Scientists estimate cyclones of this intensity have only traveled this far south about 26 times in the last 5,000 years.
This week, thousands are evacuating the Caribbean island of St. Vincent. La Sufria has been erupting since last Friday, covering the landscape in layers of ash and rock. This is the volcano's first eruption, and get this, 40 years. So obviously the first eruption in such a long time. Winds have carried ash more than 120 miles away to Barbados. The country's prime minister now says it could be up to 4 months before the danger is gone. The United Nations warns the humanitarian fallout could last months.
We are expected that continuous explosion and ashfall will continue over the coming weeks in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but also in neighboring islands such as Barbados, which has been also severely affected with the ash flood, as well as St. Lucia or Grenada. So we are facing a situation with a great deal of uncertainty and also a humanitarian crisis that is growing and that may continue for weeks and months.
A new method could help predict when eruptions like those being seen on St. Vincent will happen. NASA said this is possible by using its satellites to look for signs of volcanic unrest. Scientists studied more than 16 years of radiant heat data from volcanoes that erupted during that time. All of them showing one thing in common: radiant surface temperatures over the volcano increased by about 1 degree Celsius in the years leading up to an eruption. Then they decreased after each eruption. Scientists are hopeful this will lead to earlier predictions.
Still ahead here on this busy Friday morning, we're keeping an eye on the situation in Indianapolis. We'll get you back out there and talk a little more about that. Plus, We've got your COVID headlines, including Johnson & Johnson single-dose vaccine. It's been paused, how this will impact President Biden's vaccination goal.
And a new study on pandemic weight gain, tips on how to get your diet back on track. That's after your weather now. Welcome back. Now we want to go back to the Indianapolis FedEx area where 8 people are dead and several injured after a shooting in the FedEx facility last night.
Yeah, let's go through and kind of recap what we know right now. As Anna just mentioned, 8 people are dead after that shooting in Indianapolis. Several others injured. The scene is on Indy's southwest side. That's not too far away from the Indianapolis International Airport, a very busy part of the city. Again, this is from last night. Investigators with IMPD are kind of looking into this, trying to figure out what has happened right now, though they don't have a motive. They don't know if this person is or was an employee of FedEx. We don't know exactly what their connection is, but again, we're going to continue to monitor this story. We know a lot of you guys out there are wondering what is happening. We're trying to get that information here throughout the morning, so again, please stay with us, the very latest, right here on Waking Up with Cardinal Weather, as well as Newslink Indiana Midday. By the way, Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett, he did respond just moments ago, probably about an hour ago, matter of fact. There's a statement right there on the screen saying this morning, Indianapolis residents are confronted with the horrific news of yet another mass shooting, an act of violence that senselessly claimed the lives of 8 of our neighbors. As law enforcement works to learn more about this tragedy, our prayers are with the families of those whose lives were cut short. Thank you to all of our city's first responders for their tireless work overnight. Their quick response provided critical aid to those injured in the shooting and brought a measure of calm to an otherwise chaotic scene. Obviously, we've seen those pictures throughout the morning, a very chaotic scene last night. So again, we'll continue to navigate this here throughout the morning. I know that we've got more coverage coming on Newslink Indiana Midday, but again, we're trying to find out more information. We have a lot of questions as well. There are also mental health resources. That's another aspect potentially of this. The number is right there on your screen, 1-800-273-8255. So again, stay with us here throughout the morning. We'll continue to stay on top of that. All right, let's move on now, talk about COVID-19 here on this Friday.
Here's our top COVID headline this week. The Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine is put on hold. This comes after multiple reports of blood clots after receiving the dose.
Yeah, but as Caitlin Collins tells us, the White House is still planning to keep the COVID vaccination effort moving forward.
President Biden attempting to tamp down concerns after Johnson & Johnson vaccinations were brought to a screeching halt.
My message to the American people on the vaccine is, I told you all, I made sure we have 600 million doses.
The FDA and CDC calling on states to stop administering the J&J vaccine while ordering federal vaccination sites to do the same after 6 recipients experienced rare but severe blood clots.
What does a pause mean? It really allows both the FDA and the CDC to further investigate these cases.
Out of the 6.8 million people in the U.S. who have gotten J&J, the 6 with blood clots were women between the ages of 18 and 48 who developed symptoms within 13 days of being vaccinated. 1 died and another was hospitalized in critical condition. Federal health officials pushed for the pause out of an abundance of caution, as other experts said the clots appeared to be extremely rare.
When you think about a 1 in a million event, that's, you cross the street every day, you have a much higher chance of getting run over by a car.
Officials said they were concerned that providers would treat the rare clots with conventional drugs that could make them worse.
When you have thromboses, the most common way to treat that is with heparin. That would be a mistake in this situation.
For those who have already gotten J&J, Dr. Anthony Fauci says not to panic, but be on the lookout for headaches, shortness of breath, and abdominal or chest pain.
First of all, don't get an anxiety reaction because remember, it's less than 1 in a million. However, having said that, pay attention.
President Biden says he's not concerned the pause will affect his vaccine goals.
There's enough vaccine that is basically 100% unquestionable for every single solitary American.
But his staff is expressing concern about whether the pause will exacerbate vaccine hesitancy.
Look, hesitancy amongst a group of people is a challenge. The FDA acting the way they did today shows that they are indeed the gold standard, and I think that should reassure the American public.
After some state officials privately complained they were caught off guard by the pause, the White House said they got the message out as fast as possible.
We didn't know about anything in terms of the announcement until last night, and we didn't even know the content of the announcement until this morning when everyone else read it.
Again, that was Caitlin Collins reporting. And as Johnson & Johnson's distribution has paused, there's some good news this morning regarding the Moderna and Pfizer shots. Both vaccines are mRNA vaccines, and they are likely to protect against COVID-19 for at least 9 months. This is according to the director of the FDA's Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research. However, more research is still needed to prove that theory. Researchers are watching for whether immunity is dropping off more quickly in immunocompromised people. Both companies say their vaccines are 90% effective for at least 6 months.
And spring semester is coming to an end, and students nationwide are getting ready for summer. For many, the ticket back to campus is getting vaccinated. 25% of colleges and universities in the U.S. will require students to get COVID-19 vaccines for the fall. Some will also be mandating vaccines for campus faculty and staff. Dartmouth College and Cornell University are among the schools requiring student vaccinations. And here in Indiana, Notre Dame will be enforcing the requirement, and Ball State says getting vaccinated is encouraged.
Those of you in East Central Indiana, you might want to listen up to this. Ball State is extending the hours of the on-campus COVID-19 vaccination clinic at the Health Professions Building. Officials are adding a waiting list for those requesting the Moderna vaccine before their scheduled appointment. The waiting list is intended to help students get vaccinated even earlier than their appointment. If leftover doses are available, of course, that's when you will be able to get vaccinated before your appointment. If you're on that list, you may get a call to get the shot on that day. You will still need to register, though, for an appointment to get on that list. You can do so by visiting ourshot.in.gov. We've got a link on our website, ballstatedaily.com.
5,800 people have been infected with the coronavirus after being fully vaccinated. Some of those infected got seriously ill and 74 people died. This came as no surprise to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Vaccines are not 100% effective, and the CDC says similar cases will arise as more people get vaccinated. The agency will be looking for clues to see who's most likely to be infected after getting a vaccination. Samples from these cases will be tested to see how many were caused by variants. The CDC recommends everyone who is eligible should get a vaccine, then continue to wear masks, wash hands often, and social distance. The quarantine 15 was a concern for many people at the beginning of the pandemic. Being home meant many more people were sitting more and turning to food for comfort.
Oh boy, tell me about it.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. More like the quarantine 30, let's be real. Mandy Gaither has a look at how the pandemic has affected our bodies throughout the pandemic.
Whether you spent your time on the couch or with some comfort carbs,
weight gain during the pandemic is so common.
In a study published in the medical journal JAMA Network Open, researchers looked at weight measurements of nearly 270 participants from the 1st of February to the 1st of June 2020. On average, those studied gained 1.8 pounds per month during shelter-in-place orders in March and April. If you're in the same boat, 4 simple things can help get you back on track. First, pump up the protein, says health and fitness expert Stephanie Mansour.
By eating more protein, you're going to help stabilize your blood sugar levels, which is going to cut down on that mindless grazing throughout the day.
Next, drink lots of water. Mansour says many people mistake being thirsty for being hungry. Before you eat anything, she says, have a glass of water. Third, make movement more fun. It may make you more likely to want to exercise.
Something that's attainable. It could be a 20-minute walk. It could be yoga stretching at your desk. It could be a ab routine in the morning to wake up your core and fire you up to start the day.
Finally, Mansour says to get your head in the game, give some grace instead of criticizing yourself.
Whatever you can say to yourself each and every day to foster a positive relationship with yourself is going to make you want to make healthier food choices and get in a workout.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
All right, the time is now 8:20, and let me tell you, I don't know if you guys were prepared for this cold this morning.
Yeah, I know it's freezing out there, but it might be a nice morning for a run out there, obviously, since we're trying to lose a little bit of that quarantine weight. I know here in East Central Indiana, it's a bit chilly. About the rest of the country, they're kind of seeing the same thing.
Yes, most of the country is seeing pretty much some chilly air. If you want to see some warm air, you may want to go south, like to Florida, because that's about the only way you're going to see any warm temperatures. Because yes, it does sound good, Tyler. It sounds really good. Unfortunately, as you see this map here, it's not a whole lot of reds and oranges on here. It's a lot of blues and even some purples on here. If you take a look at the temperature, Minneapolis is sitting at 39 degrees. Billings is at 33 degrees. And look at Denver here. They're at 27 degrees, and they're actually seeing some snow in there as well this morning. So they're pretty chilly right now. As you look at the highs for today, again, we're not going to see too much in the way of any warm. You see some 60s going here in, pretty much in the southeast, even a little bit of the Midwest. And you also see 58 degrees in Minneapolis, 50 degrees in Kansas City. Again, Denver only at 41 degrees at this hour. Now, as you take a look at this, oh boy, I see my thing doesn't want to work for me this morning. But you see, we're gonna have some. We do have that warm area. You see, there's gonna be a flood watch in pretty much the areas around New Orleans. Mississippi is getting on some of this. Even a little bit of Alabama is getting on a flood watch here this morning. Now that's the warm part of it. Here's the cold part of it. Look at there. You see that we got some winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories for parts of Maine, Vermont, seeing some. Even a little bit of Massachusetts is seeing some snow. We'll be seeing some snow in that area as well. And we got some frost advisory here for parts of Kentucky, parts of even. West parts of North Carolina and Virginia is seeing some frost advisory as well as Tennessee this morning. So we're going to take this also out here to the west, just as I was staying where that cold air is at. Parts of Kansas, Denver is also seeing parts of a winter storm warning as well. So pretty much.
All right, Ryan, thank you.
All right, we're going to, of course, continue to keep you updated on all the news happening. We'll be back right after this.
Riding the bus is an easy thing to do. Last year, we carried 60,000 riders from the Ball State area. 50,000 of those were students. Anywhere you want to go, Mitts will take you there.
Waking up with Cardinal weather.
Welcome back here on this Friday morning, 8:23. What a beautiful morning out there. I know it's a little chilly. Ryan will talk a little more about that weather coming up here in a bit, but let's go ahead and get to some of our trending stories here this morning. I know this one is pretty interesting right here.
It is, and let me tell you, it's not going to help with that quarantine weight loss. It is not, and I'm going to take a lot of opportunities for this one if I get to. And there's a new way for you to get your pizza delivered, and it doesn't involve your normal delivery driver. Domino's has introduced a robot car delivery service to select customers in Houston, Texas. Customers can get text and updates on their pizza's location. To get the pizza, a code is entered on the touchscreen that opens the car door when the pie is waiting. There is no word on when this service will be expanded.
Interesting. It's cool to see how technology is kind of taking things to a new level and helping out and whatnot.
I know. It is kind of cool, and it's nice that it involves pizza and
Absolutely.
Domino's.
Yeah. We love pizza, and you know what? We love spring weather. And by the way, spring, it's a time for new beginnings, and Facebook, they've got something for you. They're working on a new app to help you find your significant other. I know Anna doesn't need that because of Mr. Colin Williams, who's an amazing person. But this is something I'm interested in. The social media giant is testing a video speed dating app called Sparked. It is being developed by Facebook's in-house team for experimental apps. The test site describes the app as a faster way to meet your match. It's going to be free and won't include public profiles, swiping, or direct messaging. You need to have a Facebook account for all of this. Pretty interesting how they're doing that.
It is.
Yeah. So, hey, let's talk a little more weather for you here on this Friday morning. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Tyler. And once again, yes, again, we're back in that cool air again, like we just stated just a few minutes ago. Again, the temperatures right now is 39 degrees in Muncie, 37 degrees in Kokomo, 39 degrees in Indianapolis at this hour. As you look at the trend for the next 8 hours, you're going to see that we're going to warm up to about around 59, 60 degrees. Today, again, this is pretty much below average for this time of the year. We're supposed to be around 61 degrees at this time of the year. I mean, it's pretty much seasonal is what I want to say. If you take a look at this radar, we're clear. We're in the clear. We're at mostly sunny skies. But you see, we're sandwiched in between some winter storm up here in Maine and Massachusetts, and then we're stuck in between this also right here with this rain, even some snow over here in the Rocky Mountains over here as well. So we're stuck in between some areas right now. But if we're gonna see any rain, well, that depends. It's a 30% chance on Sunday, and Tuesday I think it's gonna be a better chance to see some rain on Tuesday with a 40% chance. Now, as you look at today, you're going to see that we're going to have mostly sunny skies of high of 60 degrees, winds out of the northwest at 10 to 20 miles an hour. As you look at tonight, as you go out, have any plans, you're going to start out in the 50s, and then we're going to start to cool off a little bit as we go through tonight, as we cool down to the 40s. Now, you look at that 5-day trend, again, 56 degrees tomorrow, 60, 64. And we're going to cool right back down to the 50s. As you see, that average high is around 62 degrees for this time of year. So again, the temperatures are not going to really warm up too much, and we're not seeing much of a difference as we go through next week as well. As you see, take a look at this jet stream right here. Again, you can see mostly blues and some really some cooler areas. You go to the north. If you take a look at that 7-day forecast, again, 60 degrees here today, but then we start to really cool off. We're going to be pretty much in the low 60s and the upper 50s as we go through the course of the weekend. Again, we talked about this before, the 80s and 70s that we seen a couple weeks ago. We're not seeing those right now. We're not even, I looked ahead, we're not seeing them coming up anytime soon as well.
Yeah, we definitely missed those 70s and 80s. I know you were a fan of them.
Oh, I was. It was nice not having to get the coat out, not having to wear sweaters and sweatshirts anymore, just chilling in the nice weather.
We'll keep that jacket handy. Ryan, thank you so much. We'll be back right after this.
From the heart of Ball State to the heart of your community, Newslink Indiana brings you local and state news you care about. We pride ourselves with giving you the most reliable news coverage, stories that affect you, linking you to the community each night on air and online. Newslink Indiana, bringing news to the heart of your community.
Welcome back. Time to take a look at some of the top stories from this week in your Cardinal Weather News Minute. The grand jury has indicted 4 Muncie police officers in a federal case accusing them of using excessive force. Officer Corey Posey joins 3 other officers who were first indicted in March of last year. Officers Chase Winkle, Jeremy Gibson, and Sergeant Joseph Kresha now have additional charges, including excessive force and false reporting. One of the officers resigned and will retire. The other 3 are on administrative leave. We've got more information online at BallStateDaily.com. The defense resting its case in the murder trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. Chauvin invoking his Fifth Amendment right yesterday and not testifying. There will be no hearings today in the case. Closing arguments begin Monday. Finally, former Vice President Indiana native Mike Pence is recovering this morning after getting a pacemaker. The 61-year-old had previously been diagnosed with a heart condition and had experienced symptoms over the past 2 weeks. His office says the operation went well. They say he's expected to make a full recovery and return to his normal schedule in a few days. And that's your Cardinal Weather News Minute here on this Friday morning.
Welcome back, and let me tell you, last week's temperatures were in the 80s and 70s. Now we're seeing highs in the 50s.
I don't like that. Hey, we see a lot of this in the spring, that up and down trend. Yeah. Our pal Lexi Esterly is in the newsroom with us mornings, breaking down the science. Hey there, Lexi, good morning.
Good morning, Anna and Tyler. I'm Lexi Esterly, weather forecaster, and today we're going to be breaking down the science of spring temperature variations. Now, like you guys said, this spring we've been seeing temperatures jump from cool winter weather to warm summer weather pretty quickly, sometimes in just a couple days. But what causes that spring temperature variation? Well, there are a couple factors. The first of which is seasonal temperature lag. This means that temperatures lag in switching from cold winter weather to warm summer weather. Even as the days grow longer and we get heating here on Earth, most of that sunlight is actually heating the oceans instead of the Earth, which makes it really difficult to sustain long periods of warm temperature. Another factor that causes these shifts is the jet stream. The jet stream is a river of air that separates cold polar air in the north and warm tropical air in the south. And in the spring, that jet stream is often right over us here in Indiana. That means that we're switching back and forth from the cold section to the warm section as that jet stream fluctuates throughout the season. So that's influencing those quick shifts between warm and cold weather. And the final factor is pressure systems. We're seeing low pressure systems, which are typically associated with rain and poor weather conditions, and high pressure systems, which are typically associated with clear weather. Because of the way each of these pressure systems interacts with wind, as low pressure systems come through before rain happens, we typically see a period with some warmer weather and warmer temperatures. But after the rain goes through, as those high pressures come in, we see a period with colder temperatures. Those pressure systems are pushed across the country from west to east by wind. And because the jet stream is sitting right over us here in Indiana, we're seeing those pressure systems get pushed through incredibly quickly and switching back and forth between the warm and the cold sections. All of these factors come together and cause temperature variation as well as spring weather phenomena like tornadoes and storms. So if you don't like the weather in Indiana, don't worry, it will probably change next week. Anna and Tyler, back to you guys.
All right, Lexi, thank you. And this week on our Adopt a Paw segment, we're highlighting a pet from Muncie Animal Care and Services. Say hello to the good boy, Ball. Ball is 13 years young, and unlike other dogs, he's looking for someone to chill out on the couch and watch TV with. Although his energy level is pretty easygoing, he does love playing with toys and going outside. Ball will usually do best if he's the only dog in home, same, but he's always welcome to a meet and greet. He prefers a home that doesn't have a lot of strangers or kids coming through. And if you're interested in adopting Ball or any other pets or any of his friends, you can head over to the MAC's website at cityofmuncie.com.
And yes, that's actually how you spell his name. That is not a typo on that banner at the bottom of the screen.
No.
How cute is Ball?
He was adorable.
Yeah.
I want to go play with him.
Aw. Well, hey, is today good dog walking weather?
Well, if you want to get a sweater out, yeah, it'd be a perfect weather for that. Other than that, I'll probably will wait until it gets a little bit warmer because those temperatures are not going to warm up very much right now. As you see here on this weekend, we're going to be pretty much in the lower 60s and upper 50s. Temperatures going to be running a little bit below normal for this time of the year, so we got to keep that in mind. We might even see some rain chances come back into our forecast on Tuesday.
All right, Ryan. All right, Ryan, thank you so much. And by the way, I know we have gone a little long this morning, but we do want to, of course, continue to keep tabs on that breaking news in Indianapolis. I don't know if we have that shot necessarily up or any video available from the scene queued up. But here's what we do know. 8 people are dead after a shooting at a warehouse in Indianapolis. It was a FedEx facility, several others injured, not too far away from the Indianapolis International Airport. So obviously we know that you're probably asking a lot of questions this morning about what happened. IMPD, they're continuing to investigate. So of course we're going to continue to keep you updated right here on Waking Up with Cardinal Weather, as well as on our sister show, Newslink, Indiana. We've got the very latest on our midday show at 11:30. But again, that call coming in shortly after 11 o'clock last night, a very devastating situation. But as we mentioned, 8 people are dead, several others injured. The shooter also dead this morning. So again, as the investigation continues, we will stay on top of this because we know that this is a very difficult morning. So again, bear with us as we continue to try to learn more, and we will of course let you know. But that will do it for now. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a nice weekend, and we'll see you soon.